Evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Xahlee Talk Show. We are going to code Emacs Lisp Make America Great Again by engineering, but not by lawyers. So if you are watching this offline, play at 1.5 speed because I ramble. If you are watching this live, say hi there. And we're gonna begin. So optimize SVG. Okay, so optimize SVG. So let's begin. Okay, so let me show you why I want to do it. So here is Wolfram language code. Let me show you. Okay, inverse circle extra. Inverse circle. So there. Search for WL. Search for WL. So lots of backup files. Remove them. Okay, open that, copy that, go to Wolfram language, make them larger. So I was working a lot on Wolfram language. So paste the code here. So paste the code here, and let's magnify. So here is a code, and that's too big. It's smaller. Okay, so Shift Control N to make it typeset. So now Shift Enter to evaluate it. Okay, so you got this image, and it's saved to SVG. Let's make some changes. Offset. Oh shit! The code is like interim. I'm working on it, so it's right now it's not very good. So let's look at. Let me show you another floral ring. Okay, let's show this one. So here is a notebook. Select all, run it. So you got this image, fantastic and beautiful. This is geometric inversion. We talked about it several times in the past month. Okay, and it's saved to a SVG here. So let's magnify. So it's saved to SVG file there. Okay, so let's go to that file. That file would be in the document directory. Okay, hexagonal. Okay, so there it is. Open it. There it is, the file, and make it HTML mod, so you can see there is the SVG. So lots of these lines are like almost the same. Okay, they differ in the end. They put style in front. Okay, so anyway, so this is exported from Wolfram language. Now open it, go back, close that, go to the directory. So you can see it's 1 megabyte and 700 kilobytes. Okay, 1.7 megabytes. So that's too large. Make a backup. Okay, and so there is SVG optimization. So let me show you image tutorial. If you search for image video processing tutorial on xahlee.info, my website. So recently I've been looking for tools to optimize SVG. There are several, okay, and my research result is that the best one is SVG Cleaner. Okay, download that. So this is a tip for you if you're gonna work with SVG a lot. Use SVG Cleaner. It's written in Rust and focus on correctness and non-lossy optimization. Okay, so you can download it. So anyway, I need to optimize PNG. Okay, so let's copy that, close that. Wait. So go to Xahlee Talk Show. Go to today's talk show. Let's paste optimize PNG there, okay, so yeah, so this tool is great. Now I need to optimize that PNG. So wait, so go to document. Okay, hexagon. Okay, so how do I do it? Well, it's kind of tedious. So the command would be, so if you just optimize one file, So open a new buffer. This is the command, okay, basically. And then so copy the file path. So this is a file path in the same directory, so we just say that. And this SVG clean, you need the input output. I'm not sure there's a command to directly override. I'm guessing not. Okay, so SVG cleaner command line. Okay, so copy that, go to the terminal. PowerShell much superior than Bash. Okay, so let's see. Control scroll to magnify it. SVG cleaner. Okay. Dash SLI. Let's see if there's a help. Okay, this there is. But is there a flag? This is not too helpful. What the fuck? Following requirement were not provided out file. Oh, okay. Okay, let's try again. The syntax is probably wrong. So what? So you just say dash dash help. Okay, now it's better. Oh God, this is too large. Okay, that's too large. Let's shrink it. So do it again. Okay, so this is SVG help. Do they have a option to override the original? I forgot. So anyway, SVG cleaner. Okay, that's a better one. Better than the others I've tried. Better than Scowl, and better than Scowl. So, but okay, so I need to call the command, but it's tedious. So what I have to do is let's say that. Okay, so now shrink it to one line. Now copy it, then go to this directory, hexagonal file, start eShell, Emacs shell. Paste the command, run it. Okay, now it says your image is 71% smaller. Oh, fantastic, 71%. Go to the directory, refresh. Now let's see. Okay, God. So let's see original file. So now refresh. So you can see before it's 1.7 megabyte. Now it's 0.5 megabyte. Fantastic. So that's why I need to do that. But I need to generate a lot of SVGs because of the Wolfram language for my website. Let me show you, okay? You see, I talked about this project many times. This is like 30 years old, so I'm updating them. So lots of these PNG or GIF images, ancient. So I'm updating them to modernize them. So I start to need. So these are GIF. I start to need, and this is PNG. I need to update them, make them, high resolution, 30 years technology advancement. And SVG, so I need to output a lot SVG images. So every time I output it, I don't want to like go to eShell, then change file name, and So I want the commands in Emacs. So I press a key, then the current image under the cursor is optimized. That's what we're gonna write, okay? So let's copy that. Let's go back to talk show. Okay, so let's go back to talk show. Okay, here's a talk show, and let's start to write the command. Okay, so this is gonna be fairly involved. If you don't know Emacs Lisp, this is kind of fairly involved. Okay, so let's begin the documentation. I'm gonna read the comment in a bit. Okay, define a function. So define a function. So this will be called xahlee optimize SVG. Okay, make it that. Yeah, that's a command. And create it, today's date, version, today's date. Okay. And this will be so first job is to the design of the interface, how you want the input came from. Do you want it to be in the add directory, or do you want like in HTML, let's see, file path optimize. So usually it's a current file. So yeah, so because so let me show you. Okay, so usually, so close that, go back to close that. Okay, go to this inverse circle, close that, Wolfram language, close that, reopen, copy that, close that. Okay, so there is a file. So you open it. Yeah, so you want to work on the current buffer usually. Okay, so anyway, let me prepare this link, today's talk show. And so, okay, so file path, Z file path, okay. Let me just write the documentation. The first, the most important thing, critical. This is my style of coding. I always write the documentation first. And when you write documentation, you need to have the user interface design set up first. But it may change later, but usually I start with the documentation. Optimize the SVG file of current buffer or the file path under the cursor, something like that. Let's worry about that later, okay? So in Lisp code, Z file path is a file path, okay? So let's begin with that. So yeah, optimize it. So this involves making a shell call. So basically what you have to do, so copy that, close that, go back here. So basically your command is gonna make a shell call like that, okay? So the first job is to get the current file path, okay? So the current file path will be buffer file name. Okay, you don't need the paren. Buffer file name is a global variable that the value is the current, the file path of the current buffer. You see there. The pink window, by the way, shows all my command calls and keystrokes on the left. So, for example, I want to evaluate buffer file name. I do it, call it. So you can see I just called eval last 6, and you can see the file path is printed in the mini buffer at the bottom. So go to the messages buffer, you can see. So let me try again, okay? Close that. Now I want to evaluate the global variable buffer file name, okay? Press, it's done. You see the output is in the mini buffer. And the command is shown in the pink window, eval last 6. And my keystrokes are backspace WM. That's a Vorak keyboard with my Glove 80 fantastic setup. So the backspace key there is right here under my thumb. Okay, so let me do it again. So press, wait, the wrong command. Press, there it is, okay? So how are you guys? So let's see, Hungry Man, hi. What's file name's ADHD trap? That is, we did a live stream about 3 months ago. That turns out to be very popular. So there's a GIF animation called ADHD trap. Okay, so like you are snooping over my files, HD. So let's open it. Now that's not this one. Okay, so this one. So let me go from the beginning. Okay, XHAL Talk Show, and search for animation. Okay, search again. Wolfram language animation. Search again. Animation. Coding, geometry, hyperbola, animation. Go back here. Wolfram language. I mean this one. Okay, so open it. Show in browser. Not that one. Okay, so close that, search for physics. There it is. XHAL Talk Show 2025 April 20th, episode 645. Wolfram language physics emulation of bouncing balls. Okay, so there is this. So let me show that. Fascinating. So we did this. So I saw this on Twitter. So I did this. I kind of, did it in Wolfram language. Okay, so we code this live. So check it out. And then a friend on XAR Discord ask ChatGPT to generate code for this animation. And ChatGPT drew this one. Idiotic. It failed. Okay, so that answers your question. Are you making a website? What kind of question is that? Damn nice keyboard, it looks cool. I guess you are very new. I have a website for 30 years, which is what I've been talking about in the past 5 years live stream. Okay, let's go back to our code. Okay, close that, switch today's talk show, paste that there, linkify, make a list. Okay, so you can check, see that. So now let's go back to our code. So so this is very technical, Emacs Lisp. So I guess you guys may not be interested, but anyway. So let's continue doing this. So file name, buffer file name. So we got a file name first of all. So you need to save it as a variable. Okay. So well, okay. So path. Okay, file path. Okay, so now you need to run this command. Now there are several ways to do it. Looks good. Hi Francis. So let's begin with the easiest method to make a shell command. Okay, so that would be this command. Okay, shell command. Look up the documentation, describe function. You can see describe function there. Am I alive? Video check, audio check. Everything is good? Yes, say good. Okay, so shell command is this command, blah, blah, blah. This is the syntax, and it does this, that. Okay, close that. So that is the shell command. Okay, we can make the shell command. So let's, since I'm doing live coding, just let's make this the simplest. Okay, define another variable, and the variable will be this string shell command. Okay, let's not do it there. Let's just say the name, variable name, and let's set the command ourselves here. Okay, prettify the code. Okay, so set the shell command, call this command, indent 0, path coordinate, precision 2. Okay, that's options, join octo flag, yes, hexa. Okay, so then here is the file name you need. Okay, so let's concact this string by the file name. So the file name, okay, we don't need that. So let's just put it here. Okay, buffer file name, that's a file path of the current file. Then you need to concact again. Concact buffer file name by you need to kind of, oh god, let's just say add SVG. Okay, so the new file is gonna be .svg.svg, because otherwise we need to, we can do it. Okay, so but let me do this quickly so that this is like interesting. Okay, so concact buffer file name. So buffer file name is original file name. Okay, so origin name. Okay, well, okay, so copy that. Okay, so let's set original name is actually a path. Okay, so let's original file path. That's gonna be buffer file name. Okay, then here. Okay, then you want to say new path. Okay, and how do we create a new path? Well, let's do it here. Okay, so set x new path file path is going to be concat x original file name and something something. Okay, now so you need a new local variable x new path. Okay, fantastic. Clean up the code. So original file path is that. New file path is, let's just say that we're gonna change it later. So you know the desired output is the file name and 2_2, then the extension. You know, so we're gonna worry about that later. Okay, so let's open that. So go back to our code. So new file path, then the command is this command, then concat with the original file path, then new file path. Okay, prettify the code. Now delete that. Okay, now before we do anything, print them. Just make sure that you know, we are calling the right command for debugging purposes. Okay, now don't call the shell command. Actually we can, you know, so the command will be call the shell command of that command, optional output buffer ignore, error buffer ignore. Okay, that's basically it. So comment that out. So that is our code. In fact, that is complete. Prettify. Okay, evaluate the buffer. So we got it. So now so this z file path. Okay, let's remove that parameter. Okay, now let's add xutf. That is abbreviation that expand to this declaration for lexical binding of local variables and UTF-8 encoding. Okay, now make a backup, go to the diode, and byte compile the file. Yes. Is there any error? No. Fantastic. Open the byte compile file, close, delete it. Okay, so eval the buffer. Fantastic. Now let's go to that image file. Now metax xahlee optimize, there it is. Do it. So go to the messages buffer. It says command that. Now did it get the file path correctly? No, because you see there's no space between the new and old file path. So fix it. Go back to the code. So you forgot the space indeed there. Okay, now I'm pretty sure that's good. So we can call shell command. Okay, now prettify the code, evaluate the buffer, go to our SVG, and let's make a backup. Wait, so this is already optimized. So hold on a second. So let's delete that and delete all the other backup. Okay, so delete that. So this is original 1.7 megabytes. Okay, now make a backup. Delete the rest backup. Okay, so make a backup of that. Okay, fantastic. Now open it. Now metax xahlee optimize SVG. Do it. Your image is 71% smaller now. Fantastic and beautiful. Now go to the directory, refresh. So can we see? Yes. So it created this .svg.svg. That's a new one. Okay. Now let's think about, so actually our command is complete. Now it's just a trivial pretty up. You see, the core functionality of command for today's task is complete. And I think I should stop because then it makes my video live stream beautiful. If I continue for another half hour, then it's like, oh, complicated. Okay, so, well, because most people, they are not advanced Emacs Lisp coders. So you show the simplest, it's usually better, at least for live stream. Okay, so here's a command, it's already done. So, we can make it more robust if you are going to publish or you're going to sell this software. Of course, you need to make the new file path to be, like _2 attached, things like that. And actually, the better, so this is about user interface design. You want to make a backup of the original, then delete then make, optimize, then delete the original, then rename the new optimized file to be the original file name. So that way, we can do that. Let's do that actually, okay? So first of all, put the code back, syntax correct, show in browser. Fantastic. Here's our fruit, and there's a duplicate link. So let's remove that duplicate link, okay? So I think that's it. So there's some pretty cleanup to do. Shall we do it, or shall we stop? We'll talk random for 5 minutes. There's a lot to improve. So besides the file name, the other thing it would be better is that when you make a shell command call, it is not optimal, because when you make a shell command call, Emacs will need to start a shell. So it actually start a shell, and then the shell call the command. Okay, so that's like a two-step process. It will be more efficient if you call the shell command directly in Emacs. Okay, you can do that. So if you search for xahlee Emacs Lisp tutorial on xahlee.info, the most popular tutorial on the web, okay, for like 20 years. And we want to make a shell call. So you go to Emacs Lisp Basics, not here. You go to Emacs Lisp. Then you go to call shell command. Okay, so there are several alternatives. So the first one is shell command, the most easy, simplest one. Okay, once you do that, once you are familiar with this, you can level up to, so you also call shell command on region, sync shell command. You level up to call shell command on region. Wait. You level up to like start external process. Okay, so this, when you use this function, you bypass the shell. So Emacs doesn't start the shell and the shell call that command. You call the command directly. Okay, so that's a call process, and you have quite a few variations. You also have call process region and so on. But however, so there are a lot, so it's usually almost always better. It's like there's always it's simply better to not start a shell, okay? But however, the issue is that it becomes somewhat complicated. So it's somewhat more, quite, a bit involved in Emacs Lisp to make a call directly, to use the call process or the call process region, fairly complicated, or start process, you see, and you have to decide which one to use. Okay, but I can do that. So let's see, what is this page? Okay, close that. What is this page? Okay, that's today's talk show. I can do that, but I'm not sure it's very interesting to you guys, because it would be interesting to those who have programmed Emacs Lisp for at least, say, several months. Because otherwise, just call shell command, okay? Now, another issue with just the shell command is that you usually have to quote your file name. So if the file name, let me show you. Okay, so if the file name, let's say, make a backup, and let's say, okay, so this one, let's just say edit. So let's say xxxy. Okay, done. Okay, so this is our file, new file name. It's got a space in it. Now, if you do it, optimize SVG, it'll fail. It'll fail. Do it. You see, error. Found argument something something which wasn't expected or isn't valid in this context something. Why? Because, when you have a space in shell name, it needs to be shell quoted. Worse is when you have apostrophe in your shell name. Like typically in shell names, you could have, arbitrary names, very easy because it's not programming language. But you get a lot of problems when you call shell command on them. Okay, because to escape the quote is very complex, because it's not just like when you manually escape it in shell, it's easy. Let's see, cd to document. Okay, so directory. So if you want to quote this xy, it's easy. Okay, so for example, you can press a key, and the shell actually automatically complete quoted for you. And there's lots of other ways. You can also type a double quote, X, then tab, and you also do it. Or you can just say X, then backslash. Wait, in PowerShell, it's a single quote. Then anyway. But if you want to quote the file name, if you want to quote the file name in Emacs when you call shell, it's very complicated because Emacs Lisp string needs to have a quote by itself. Then when you pass to shell, so it is a 2-step or 3-step quoting escaping mechanism going on. So it can get incomprehensible or even impossible. Okay, so, but you have to do it. So, but in our case, we can actually do by, for example, let me show you. Let's, wait. Shell, was it shell quote? Or, yeah, shell quote argument. Okay, that. Okay, then shell quote argument. Wait, what? Undo. Yeah, so shell quote argument. Okay, that. Prettify the code that should work. Evaluate the code. Go to the file. X space y. Call the command. Do it. Now it's fantastic. Go to the shell and you can see it's done. So anyway, but you see, the problem is that this shell quote argument does not always work because when your command, when your file name has lots of backslash or double quote, it may not always work. So anyway, so that's it for today. And so we can make this shell command. So you have to quote the name, but if you alternatively, if you call the call process those commands, okay, so this needs to go. This is too long. Okay, so if you call the call process like start process or the call process, then you don't need to quote your files. Anyway, I think that's it for today. So let's see what are comments, and that's it. Okay, we got quite a few comments. Let's see. What? Hi, Kasa. Hi. I like Emacs Lisp. Hi. Me too. You are Oguchi. Are you assuming the buffer to be backed by a file? Yes. Well, obviously, I mean, typically, yes. In practice, SVG file will, in a buffer, is always a file. So in this case, yes, in practice. It's very rare if you have a buffer that's SVG image, but that's, not saved to a file. It's kind of very rare. In fact, it's hard to create that. It's hard to create a buffer with SVG. Actually, well, the reason we can do that is because SVG is just HTML. So you can copy the entire buffer, open a new buffer, paste it, and there we have it. This is a SVG file, and it's not a file. There's no file associated with it. So we can call this command, but in this case, our command won't work because this is not a file. But, anyway. So let's see. It's not a variable. So what is instead? Mutating an unbound variable rather than just binding it is unsaid. You are incorrect. Okay. So you are talking about. Let me show you the code. Okay. So the code. Let's put it back. Okay. Let's put the back code. Let's just wait. Put it back, syntax show in browser. So you are saying that, when I declare local variables, let these variables, then I'm setting it here. You are saying I'm mutating variables before they are set. Actually, that's false. When you declare with let, they have an initial value of nil. Okay, that's how Emacs Lisp works. So all these variables, they have a value of nil, which is actual value. Okay, and also this gets us into the coding style. Should you, so alternatively, for example, this okay, so let's say go to xahlee Emacs mode. Okay, so for example, this alternatively, what you can do is you can just okay, so for example, delete that, paste that, delete, prettify. Okay, you can alternatively give them a value inside the let by this syntax. Okay, and this part too, but this part, the X command, it depends on previous variables. You see, so therefore, if you put this here, it won't work because the let declaration does not allow you to have variable chaining. Okay, so if you want to do this, you can, but you need to change this let to a let star. You see, technicalities of Emacs Lisp. You see, so compare. So this is about coding style. Both of them works, but which one should you use? The programmers get obsessive about it. Some certain programmers, okay? I was one of them. But I can tell you the proper, which is the best way. Okay, so you got this way is semantically equivalent to this. Okay, so we got two variations. Which one should you use? Should you just have variables there and set them, or should you make it compact, less function call? Like this is so elegant. After 20 years of coding Emacs Lisp, I decided I prefer this way, always. Why? I can tell you why, but I'm assuming, Francis, you are a Emacs Lisp coder, right? I assume. No, because then you need let asterisk, yes. Globals get shadowed in let, yes, okay. Yeah, so I suppose you are a... Francis is an Lisp coder, so anyway. yes, there is law, but okay, so I don't have time to get into detail like who is saying what. But anyway, let me just tell you guys that after 20 years of coding Emacs Lisp, I always prefer this way, because when you put the variables inside the let declaration, then later on when you need to modify it, it becomes complicated. Because let's say you want to introduce a new variable, something, okay? Then let's say it depends on one of the variables. Then what you do is you put it back, you put to the bottom here. And sometimes when you need to quickly finish something, you need to modify quickly, get prototypes, so-called. You need to mutate a variable. Then you cannot, you need to mutate it multiple times. So basically, to make it short, you just this way is just most flexible and the most easy to understand, because here you can see all your variables in one shot. Because otherwise, when you have this form, sometimes it get very complicated. Just like some of these variables can fill a half of a screen, gets complicated, and you have several of them. And sometimes the order depends on previous variable. Then you need to change it to let star. Then you modify. Then they don't depend on previous variable. Then the elegant coders, then you need to go back and remove the let star because it's redundant. So it gets complicated, because then you have a question. When you have a let star, does that always mean that some of the variables are dependent on previous variable? Does that always mean that? By the semantic, no. The semantic of let star just means that it may happen, but it's not necessarily that some of variables depends on the previous variable value. However, as someone who obsessed about coding style, then you want to make sure that whenever you have let star, you must always have variables that depends on previous variable values. So you need to worry about that. You need to edit. You need to fuss about it. So So anyway, in summary, my coding style is just always do this, because I was very obsessive about this. A few years ago, I changed all my code, like 50,000, all my code to the let star form, because I thought this let star is just the most general. So we just always gonna have, like, don't ever use let again. Everything is gonna be let star. Okay, so I went through all my code and changed them. Then after a year, I went through the trouble again, changed them back. Okay, so like right now, I actively remove whenever I have code. Let's see, actually I have let star. I think there are still a few. Okay, like it's very tedious to okay, star, you need to / quote it. Okay, so find it. Let's find, or let's start. Wait. Okay, I'm using xahlee find, so I don't need to quote. Okay, search for it. So you see, let's start. So there's actually like quite a few of them. So open one of them, so you can see let's start. So but the reason it's still there is because I just got lazy, because every time you go through this tedious, this is impractical. In real life coding, never do this in a corporation. You code when it's 5:00 p.m. Go home. You don't worry about it. If you do these things like this, when it's not broken, don't touch it. But for your own code, obsessive with elegance, I do that. But it takes hours to carefully fix them. So anyway, that's an extra story of today's talk show. Okay, I think that's it. Oh my God, this fails because you have to escape the file path. Yes, yeah, because you don't know what is important and what isn't. Hungry man, hey, this is literally a problem introduced by Unix. How is this for? Okay, so you can still mutate variables with explicitly specified initial value. That's correct. You see, it's too bad. Yeah, there's another thing I like to mention. In Emacs Lisp, there's no way to declare local constants. So you cannot tell the compiler that you have a constant, that it should never change. You cannot do it. Actually, there is defined constant, okay? Yeah, but it doesn't work. Actually, it just tells the user, it tells the programmer that this value xs is supposed to be a constant, but you can change it anyway. The compiler doesn't enforce it. So, and there's no way to declare local variables, okay? Which, even though I use set, but my local variables, like 99.99% of them are always constant, because I'm a stickler of functional programming. So I'm very into very much a functional programmer. So basically all my code, my use of local variables, they are all constants. Okay, but there's one exception though, which gets us into another technicality of Emacs Lisp, which is there is no pipe operator in Emacs Lisp. Okay, in that case, let's go to XAH programming blog and search for Lisp pipe. Okay, Lisp syntax problem of piping functions. That's a major problem of Emacs Lisp, and I believe Common Lisp. I think Scheme Lisp and Closure Lisp, they don't have that problem. They fixed it. Okay, so basically, let me explain this problem. Okay, that's another digression, a new topic. Lisp syntax problem of piping functions. Basically, the problem is Emacs Lisp and Common Lisp do not have the Unix pipe function. Okay, so when you have let's say a file name, let's say you have a file name, you want to change space to dash or dash to space, and you want to append a number, like what we need to do today. So the easiest way is to mutate a variable. Set function name is that, then set function name again, something, then function name. And set it again, you mutate it to get what you want. That's the easiest way. Now, if you don't want this mutation of variables, what you have to do is this, okay? Replace rejects in string that, then nest. Basically, you got this nesting. This is very problematic because, so here's a real life example from an expert Emacs Lisp coder, okay, from a friend. We were working on Ergo Emacs, okay, that his name is, I think it's David Capello, I think. Anyway, if you search for Ergo Emacs, it's on GitHub, okay. The previous Ergo Emacs, the previous maintainer, the current maintainer is another guy, Mike. But anyway, the previous guy, Dave Capello, he's known for the pixel application on Windows, pixel animation. Let's just quickly search for pixel Dave Capello, okay. So he's a great programmer. He's particularly a C and C++ C++ expert. Okay, so I think I got, there. So David Capello, yes, Ergo Emacs. That was, we worked on that like 15 years ago. And you go to his website, and he's famous for a project developed by xahlee, a crazy guy, which has reconsidered the entire Emacs key binding. Okay, so yeah, official website that kind of that's old project, so that moved on. Wait, where's the yeah, anyway, the project moved on. So anyway, so now there's a new maintainer. Anyway, so he's most famous for Asprite. Okay. Okay, but this code is written by the new maintainer. Okay, so not Dave Quedo, by what's his name? These are kind of history. So, oh God. Okay, so let's go here. Matt Fiedler. Okay, Matt Fiedler is a professional programmer, and he also coded Emacs Lisp. So this code we are talking about is actual code. This is actual code. So, but this is very unreadable. It's a problem. Now, if Emacs Lisp has a pipe notation, for example, this is Wolfram language, you have the pipe syntax operator / okay, or the Unix is vertical line, then the problem is solved. Okay, or in scheme shell is just this pipe function. Okay, in Closure Lisp is arrow. Okay, so those are fantastic, but Emacs Lisp still don't have it. Okay, so that is when I have mutating variable situation, because this form is just too problematic. Anyway, I think that's it for today. Do you think there should be constant? Yeah, I would like that for Emacs Lisp. I would like in Emacs Lisp to have like let constant something, because I don't mutate my variables. Macro, okay, yeah. So there are libraries implement macro. Okay, I don't want that. You want that in that bundle with Emacs, GNU Emacs Lisp. You don't want, Lisp is list processing language. That stands for list processor. Okay, Lisp, Emacs Lisp. When you do list processing, you don't want by the way, you need to go to this library to download it in order to do fundamental programming with list. Okay, that's a problem with the S and T and J. Fuck. I talked about this, like, swear at them so much in my live stream. Okay, that's called you should ban it. Okay, so that's another topic that's we talked about. Ban something. No, not that. What is that library? So search for library. The library named S. Okay, package S. Wait, what is the package named? SR something. There's a bunch. Controversy alpha. This package. Dash. Okay, dash my ass. I did a live stream, actually 2 of them. So the earliest one is this one, 2020, 5 years ago. Then I think I did another one. Okay, so this is also 2020. I did another one sometimes like 2 years ago or 3. Dash. Okay, why you should not use the package dash? Dash is trying to like we are coding Lisp. But you need these things, you need to, load another library to do it. And the reason why Dash become popular is because the new Emacs fuckheads, they refuse to change. Like they are the gods. If you want to do something, you have to beg us. You have to beg the right way. Doesn't matter who you are. You are the lead coder of Google. The Richard Stallman don't give a fuck. the GNU core develop teams, like they sneer you. You have to beg them the right way. Then maybe we'll consider include your suggestions or code, implementation to extend Emacs Lisp. That's a case situation. So that's why the Dash package became popular, because it fixed. By the way, by now it's fixed. This is old news. I talked about this. So that's why Dash package became very popular. Okay, because people need to they need to have filter functionalities. What the fuck is a programming language in Lisp? You don't have a filter function. Like, what the fuck are these? But the GNU Emacs, like, they are gods. What you gonna do? Then, so Dash became hugely popular, the #1 download on Melpa. Okay. Then after 10 years, about 10 or 5 years, I forgot exactly. The GNU Emacs people saw it. So, Jesus, you don't have a filter function. Look at the Dash. They are so popular and they are not cool. Oh, Jesus, we need to do something about it. Then that's when they did something about it. Okay, that is when today you have those functions. Filter, here, sequence, okay. So you search for Emacs Lisp basics, xahlee.info. There's a sequence function, sequence type. You have you have about 20 functions that works on sequence, basically including everything that the Dash did. So this move of this sequence function is precisely because of the Dash. So we have to thank to the Dash guy. The Dash guy. So, and this is even, this is like 10 years ago. So they added the sequence, seq.el library in 2016. Okay. When it came out, it's not mature yet, but, then, there's no documentation and so on, and but now, by now, it's like 9 years. So now it's very mature. So a recommendation, a tip for me, okay? So if you are coding Emacs Lisp, if you are still using Dash, remove the fuck out of it, okay? Remove it, okay? You can, it's all built in. You don't need a Dash library. But to the question, why Emacs Lisp still doesn't have the pipe function, I don't know. That's a good question. Why don't they still not have the pipe function? They should. It's not difficult to write. Okay, I think that's it. So yeah, that's 1 hour. Okay, so that's it. Dash provides the threading macro of closure. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, we should have that. It's called CL remove if not. No, that's not, well, that's CL. CL is a different beast. Okay, CL. I'm a common Lisp hater, so I won't have good things to say about CL. And in my code, not one single line, I will never use anything CL dash. Okay, fuck common Lisp. Wait, why would I remove dash? It gives you the pipe macro. You can write the pipe macro in 10 minutes. I can write it in 5 minutes. Okay, if you just need that, you don't need the dash thing. The dash thing is kind of annoying. Okay, I don't want to. I've been talking for 2 hours in the past, about the dash library. So I don't want to flame too much, And he's a good programmer. Okay. But the dash, there's lots of problems. They first of all, they are the new generation. Okay, they, not about that guy, but a lot of people, they think I'm just gonna create a complete new interface to Emacs Lisp because Emacs Lisp is Asian, it's no good. Because I heard of a closure I'm very good with Clojure, hard language, new king in town. The Clojure did it this way. So I'm going to, remodel Emacs Lisp, and so it works just like Clojure. Everything is like short. That's one of the problem. That's their mentality. Okay. Then another one is that they're gonna have their short names. I'm just gonna name my library S. The fuckheads. These kind of people are fuckheads. Okay. I'm just gonna name my library S for string. It's gonna be the modern string user interface to all Emacs string functions. That's this late millennial Zoomer mentality. Okay, let's go to the download list by download number. Okay, you see dash number 1. Why? Because everyone is loading it. Makes Emacs slow. Like this is the most responsible library that makes Emacs slow. Like typically like the JavaScript npm. How do you? I need a function to determine if a number is even. Okay. Oh, there's an npm library. Let's load it. and that got 10 dependencies, and each one got 10 other dependencies. So you open the gate to 1,000 packages flooding your computer. That is the situation of the no-brainers JavaScript coder, the generation, npm. And similarly is a Emacs Lisp situation, because these people, they can't be bothered. These people, how do you do a filter in Emacs Lisp? I don't know. Well, let's just load the dash because it's easy, because it's named filter, they can't be bothered. So the number 1 library responsible for slowing down Emacs, like whatever you do in Emacs, why is it slow? Like org-mod, like the fucking org-mod. Like to load org-mod take a while, but actually that's not fair, because org-mod is pretty big. Like I'm loading it, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds. Am I actually loading it? Yeah. So it takes like 10 seconds. Does org-mod load dash? No, I don't think so, because by now org-mod is part of Emacs. You don't dash the fuck. Okay. So get rid of dash. Okay. I'm telling you, get rid of the dash. And actually, you are not me, but if you are me, if I'm using any library that download dash, I kick that library out. Okay. If I need some library and I saw that dash or one of the other fucks, dash or the other fucks, this S fuck and this F fuck, they like to name this new fucking Zoomers. This is a phenomenon of greedy, because they occupy the shortest name in a library repository, while the name is not descriptive, but however it occupies a space, just like twitterx.com, it's like standing out. So that means your popular has better chance to become more seen. These S fuckheads, whoever wrote that, I kind of know who wrote all this, but I forgot. Okay, so this S for strings, the long lost, and also look at their description, the way their fucking mentality. Okay, S package, the long lost Emacs string manipulation library. Oh, it's long lost. Who the fuck are you? So it's long lost, meaning that the implication, like there's usually implications in phrases like the Black Lives Matters. What does it mean, Black Lives Matters? Do you mean it doesn't matter? You have to think about it. There's implications. So what does it mean? This is a long lost Emacs string manipulation library. Oh, Oh, it seems to suggest that Emacs doesn't have a dick. If you need a dick, you need to use his library. The fuckhead. Okay. Who wrote this? I forgot. I should the same guy, the Magna, the same guy who wrote Dash. Okay. And then somebody else wrote the F. Okay, look at the description: modern API for working with files and directory. Now, what the fuckheads? These fuckheads. This is another guy. Okay, this is, you see, inspired by Magna. But who is this? Description, badge code, what fucking no names. You see, these fucking no names ass. Let me make a declaration, okay? What is it called? Meaning that I'm not attacking many of these people. Many of these people are good people, okay? For example, the Magna guy, I think he's a good guy, okay? But the way he named his library, he pushes it. I find it problematic. Okay, I don't like it. I think he should not. Okay, do that. Okay, that's my what's called disclaimer. Okay, that's my disclaimer. And I don't know who wrote the F. The F fuck occupies a space, a prominent space like F. But okay, let's find out who wrote it. But disclaimer. Okay, Punjak, okay, it's a great guy, okay. He actually contacted me, and 3 years ago, he showed me a photo of his keyboard, which I put on my website with his permission. A good guy, all these, okay, Johan Anderson, okay, all these are good guys, but the thing I'm bitching about is this kind of naming. This kind of naming and this kind of peddling. This is called marketing. Okay, this is called part of marketing. A modern Lisp library for Emacs, a long lost Emacs string manipulation library, and modern API for working with files. I don't like them. I find they are like they are called, what's the proper name for this kind of marketing? They are called kind of aggressive, but that's not a proper term. It's kind of like it infringes on it's not exactly unethical, but it's kind of like infringes on that. How do you, there must be a proper term to describe this. This is common, okay? For example, let's say, you need to write a library, name it, let me tell you a tactic, name it A, the letter A, capital A, okay, or lowercase, or name it Z, so your package will stand out, whatever package you write, conceive a way to connect to A or Z, okay? And then in the description, say the modern API, something. Okay, that concludes the rant. Okay, Francis says you can complain that Emacs doesn't have modern features immediately making fun of anyone who tries to make it more modern. Well, you got a point, but like I said before, I talked about this for an hour, years ago, 2 years ago and before that. The problem is, part of the problem is the GNU Emacs dev. Okay, they refuse to change. What can you do? It's very hard to get your library accepted, So like I said, I don't blame these people, to having done this library. In fact, Dash is precisely because of Dash, it became hugely popular, 15 years ago. That made the GNU Emacs to create the sequence library, okay? Dash happened first, hugely popular, Then the GNU Emacs, the Richard Stallman, Richard Stallman is gonna ask, oh, what is dash? What is smellpot? Please, someone explain to me. Then they explain to him what is smellpot. Then the Richard Stallman will ask, can someone? Why is dash popular? Why is it? Why didn't these people just put the code? Sign the paper to GNU Emacs. Why are they creating dash? Then people explain to him. Happened a few times. Search for my article, you'll find it. Search on xahlee.info. Search for Richard Stallman. Okay, and I did several videos about it too. So the GNU, so it is because of dash became hugely popular. Then after 5 years, the GNU Emacs people and Richard Stallman saw it. Then they started to, we need to do something. Okay, then they decided, okay, we need to create our own functions. Okay, and then the guy, I forgot what's his name. Okay, they created it. Okay, the sequence function. Sequence set Q. Okay, let's go to it. And the guy's name is this guy, Nicholas Patton. He created this sequence library, 2014. Okay, you can check the year. Okay, that's like 5 years after the dash became hugely popular. So I don't blame the dash guy. But it's got a problem. The community, the Emacs, there's some problem going on. First of all, it's very hard to get your library to be part of Emacs, and part of that problem is because of the Richard Stallman and because the GNU Emacs Lisp dev. Okay, they got some kind of they are like a commune, like the Jesus Christ. We are the free software. The heaven. They kind of got the phenomenon like that. Okay. And they sneer who the fuck you are. Like if you created Google, they don't give a fuck. Okay, they are like that. The GNU dev. So Dash became popular. GNU dev started to then they wrote it. But Dash itself has kind of problems. The guy he's like a new generation. He's like late millennial. So he began around 2010. Not a bad guy, okay, but I'm saying that then I don't like the way he like the is kind of on the borderline of things, okay, like modern, like everything. What does modern means? Modern, does that mean 1900s? Like after 1800 is modern, or do you mean after 2020? You created this like 15 years ago. Man, Jesus, that can I make a pull request? You should change your name to Ancient. In the software industry, after 15 years, you call your library modern, and everything now is built in. You call it modern, and and you don't. And by the way, by the fucking way, let me tell you guys another thing about Dash. You don't follow the GNU Emacs Lisp coding, the formatting conventions. You are like going your way, your own. Let's go to see it. You guys got me to rant up about this, because otherwise I'm done for today. Like they don't follow the naming conventions of GNU Emacs, so they are like going rebel, they are going maverick, they are hotshot. So let's go to the code. So anyway, there's all these kind of issues. Okay, I don't like. But like I said, it's not totally their fault, and they did good too. Just my personal opinion. So if you want to call your API modern, I'm free to criticize the way you name your things. It's a free country. Okay, bye guys. Now, if you like my stuff, donate, okay? Go to xahlee.info. Go to all the way to the bottom. Patreon, Amazon gift card, PayPal me, okay? And by the way, today I turned on YouTube ads. I turned it off for the past few years, but today I turned it on again because I saw Wolfram Research, their video have ads in it. And I was wondering, because Google has been so nasty, I'm wondering, if I turn off my ad, if I turn ad back on, maybe my video will be higher ranked, because there's money for them. No read. Well, you guys typed too much, okay? And I talked about this too many times. So what do you mean no read? I'm done. I'm done for the day. We already like 80 minutes. Okay, bye guys. Shut down in 1 minute. Close that. Emacs Lisp. Copy, close that. Blog, Emacs blog, close. What is this? Oh, this is alternative. Okay, bye guys.